I tried breaking my bad habits over and over again. Doom scrolling, smoking weed and eating junk food, gaming into the late night, you name it. I would start the streak, maybe get a month or even 2 in, then the relapse would come, I would feel shit about myself afterwards, and the cycle continues. And so I'm making this video for you because something actually changed. And it wasn't more willpower, it was actually just understanding that my brain will just always choose what's easiest, what's most familiar, and actually what's most attractive in my mind. And so if you watch this video to the end, you're gonna learn exactly what 4-step formula I used to break some of my personal worst habits and stop this endless battle of fighting against them. Before we jump in, if this is your first time to this channel, my name is Marvin, and for the last 8 years, I've used self-development to make more money in my sales career and just show up better in everyday life in general. There's going to be a couple of links in my description. One is actually for a community that I'm building. It's free of charge, where like-minded people are trying to get on our A game and stay there. Anyways, we'll get straight in. Very simple concept to understand this is from a book called Atomic Habits, okay? And in that book, the author, James Clear, he actually breaks down how a habit is formed. For this video, we're basically going to do the inversion of that. And so when it comes to habits, when it comes to breaking them, should we say, what we need to do is, so the first one, making it invisible. Very important thing to understand, and they showed this in the book, they explained this. They ran studies on, I think it was basically people in rehab recovering from drug addiction. The biggest cue that made people relapse was actually visual. Out of all the, and yeah, we're gonna, yeah, good enough. Yeah, so it wasn't hearing people talk about drugs, it wasn't, I don't know, smelling the drugs. I'm not sure if you can smell drugs. Weed, sure, but whatever. It was visually seeing them. So that's where this first principle really comes in, making it invisible. As by any means necessary, try and remove the visual cue from the bad habit that you're trying to deal with. And so for me, for example, that very much looked like when it came to junk food, literally just not having it in the house. Why would I open the cupboards every single day and, oh, look at the crisps and try and, avert my gaze, or, I don't know, see someone smoking a packet of cigarettes if that was a habit that I was trying to break, and constantly tell yourself, all right, cool, just look the other way. Like, why do that? I now just don't buy junk food when I do my weekly food shop. And so I literally don't have snacks in my household. And it makes it so much easier to have to resist because I don't have that trigger. And so again, I don't know what that looks like for your environment, but the goal here is to just make it invisible as much as you can. Don't buy them, remove it from the screen, don't hang out with the people where you usually see it, don't go to those sort of bars where you maybe see people smoking, whatever it might be, just remove it visibly. That's the first thing. The next thing then, making it unattractive. Or remove the ice. In your mind, you just need to make it something that's a bit, ugh. So for me, when it came to junk food, I don't know, something like, let's say McDonald's or whatever, really, I would just tell myself, or I'd remind myself of how you then feel afterwards. In the moment, yeah, amazing, but that morning after, or even the evening after, when it's sitting heavy, you can literally just still feel the food and you're just a bit off. It's like, was that really worth it? And that moment of, was that really worth it? It's just what I keep in mind now. When I would game like all the way through a Friday night or like even a Saturday night, and then I wake up at like, God knows what the next day, and then the morning's gone and half of my weekend is gone before I then go back to the 9 to 5 grind. Like, was that really worth it? Like, you just melted away a whole night and like half of the next day. Like, is that really, like, you kind of know the answer. I mean, sure, like, maybe it's a sick game, but look, if you're trying to break this habit, your association for that negative aspect needs to become stronger and stronger, and this will make it easier. So when it comes to junk food, when it comes to gaming, I just thought about all the negative connotations or all the negative outcomes of it, really, basically. It's quite, kind of says it for itself. Make it unattractive. The important thing here is you're not shaming yourself, like, oh, look at you, gaming, whatever. It's just look at it, just say it for what it is. Number 3 then, make it difficult. If you watched my previous video, you will have heard me explain how our brain basically goes for predictability, convenience, etc. And I mentioned in the intro as well that whatever's easy is what your brain gravitates towards. So basically, the aim of the game here is to create friction. You want to create barriers between you and the habit. So for me, for example, when it came to really wanting to not game anymore, easy option was just delete the game. Anyways. And why? Because now it takes like, I don't know, it's a big ass game, it might take like 3 hours, 4 hours with my basic Wi-Fi to download it. And so if it's a Friday night and I now suddenly feel like, maybe that impulse comes out, I've been working hard, a little sesh would be all right, wouldn't it? But wait, it's going to take 4 hours to download the game. Immediately, the impulse gone. See you later. Yeah. So you can also do this for when it comes to scrolling. A massive thing that I've done is turn my phone to grayscale. So basically, the screen is grey. Scrolling suddenly ain't so fun anymore when there's literally no color to your screen. Honestly, it works like magic. Like, again, it creates friction. It's not as enjoyable. And again, there's loads of examples for this. If it came to smoking weed, maybe give the weed to someone else. And so now when you have to smoke, you have to go to them to ask them for it. And so again, that kind of seems long. Maybe you're accessing apps, websites that you shouldn't be, set up an extra password, delete the app. Again, it's straightforward, but the more friction, the better. The more barriers, the more hurdles that you have to go through to get to the habit, the better. Your brain will just say, actually, it's kind of not worth it. So I'm sort of taking the fun out of it. See you later. And then the last one. Make it punishing. Now, there's different levels to this. You can just go all out, publicly declare what you're doing, and every time that you give in, I don't know, you owe someone a tenner, or whatever. You get what I'm saying. You can with public accountability, you can obviously make the punishment as extreme as you want. Now, if this is something that you're just kind of doing with yourself, I think the big thing here to keep in mind is just your identity and who you want to become. And why I say that is because you just need to be really realistic with how much further you're getting away from the person that you want to be with your current habits. You're, instead of 1% better, you're becoming 1% worse. Well, let's make it red. And where that leads you. So just be very realistic about that. And so to close this out, it's very straightforward. Your brain will just go for easiness and attractiveness. And so if you build a system, build an environment that works against your brain and against the habit, suddenly this endless battle of fighting against it stops, and it will literally just quietly die out without even realizing. And so literally, bro, just pick one bad habit today. If you want extra accountability, mention it in the comments, just to kind of publicly put it out there, and design this kind of environment that will literally just slowly die out. I hope it helps you, bro. As always, God bless.